Welcome to the Daily Decorista with your host, Ann Capua.
Hi and welcome. I'm Ann. I like to make art out of the everyday and share the joy that I'm finding along the journey. In this video, I'll show you how to make a really pretty tea-stained coffee filter Easter egg wreath and how to make some faux sweets out of the styrofoam eggs and bunnies you can find at Dollar Tree. This project is really easy and I'm just going to get right into the video today. To make the chocolate Easter eggs and bunnies, I gave my styrofoam forms a coat of gesso first. I let it dry because I wanted to fill in all those little bits of cracks from the styrofoam and make it look a little more tight. And then I took some brown paint. I think this is the Truffle Waverly paint. You can use any brown paint. Take a little bit of glossy Mod Podge and mix it in. You just want to give the paint a little bit of sheen to give it that chocolatey feel. And then to make the eyes, because I love on chocolate Easter bunnies, they have like those icing eyes. I took a little bit of Model Magic and I made eyes, and I just used a blue magic marker to dot the eyes and make the pupil. And I pulled out some bows that I had in my stash. They originally came from Walmart, but you can use any of the children's bows that they have at the Dollar Tree, or you can make one of your own. I'm just not too good at making bows, so I had some in my stash and that's what I used. I just feel like I like the way chocolate bunnies look with a little bow tie. Makes them all ready for Easter dinner. To decorate my chocolate eggs, I had some really pretty pink ribbon that they were selling at Dollar Tree, so I picked it up. I had some great gold ribbon in my stash, so this is what I use to decorate my eggs. You can use whatever you like. I also think puff paint would be a great option if you had that, so I just like the way this color combination kind of matched with the pink ribbon that I put on my bunnies. How did I stain those coffee filters? Well, let me spill the tea. I used a Tazo Passion Tea. I really like this really pretty pink color. I had taken my coffee filters and you layer them. You don't put them one on top of the other. You kind of stagger them. Let them soak for about 20 minutes and squeeze out all the water. Such a pretty soft pink color when they dry. All right, so now I have my egg frame that I picked up at Dollar Tree, and let me show you how to fold the coffee filters to make the frame. First, you fold it in half, and then you fold it in half again, and you'll get a triangle shape. You can totally make these shapes ahead of time and have them ready to go if you choose. So I do this section by section. I take it over the first wire, I pull it through, and on the end, I just dab a little bit of hot glue, and then I hold it for a second. And that's where I place it, as close to that line that kind of defines that section. And then I go on each and every wire behind it. You'll see me do the same. So I fold it, and then I fold it again, get a triangle shape, and I'm going to go right behind that one, and I'm going to repeat the process. I've seen some wreaths where they do every two, but I want this really nice and full, so I'm doing every single wire. It actually goes pretty quickly. You just keep going, and I wanted to point out to you that you want to stay as close to the wire, and every time you put them in there, while the glue isn't dry yet, you can kind of give it a little push over to make sure that there's no gaps or spaces in between. Get really close to that little section wire. And here you can see how nice the frills are coming all together and how nicely the wreath is taking shape. I go along the bottom line and I give those a dab of glue to hold it so it kind of doesn't flop in the middle, because I do want to keep that egg shape. And then I go and I kind of use my hands to puff up each one of the coffee filters as it goes along, just to give it a nice poofy feel. Here you'll just see me finishing out this section, and you can see that I want to get as close to the other line that ends that section right there like I did in the beginning. Let's get a little tight towards the end of the section, but you don't want to go into the other section. You don't want there to be any spaces, so it's okay if you have to push them in a little bit and play with a little bit of space compared to the more space that you had in the beginning. When the glue is not completely dry, you'll see me look for extra spaces, and maybe I want to fill them in. So while the glue is still a little bit wet, I'll just put it in and I'll slide them over a little more just to make sure that I'm getting in all those gaps. And this is what it looks like from the back. When I flipped it over, I noticed that I had some more gaps. So what I do here is I just fix a little bit of the ones that are flopping over in the middle, and then I go and I fill in right in the middle there. I saw an extra gap and I wanted to stick another coffee filter in there, so that's what I did. I take my hands and I try to shape it into that egg shape. Any of the ones on the end row are flopping over, so I take the glue gun, I kind of glue pieces together, and with my hands I kind of just press it into that egg shape. The top of the wreath last because I want to tie in my hanging ribbon, and I glue that one in, and then I put all the coffee filters to finish off the wreath. Now to put my chocolate bunnies and eggs in, I take my glue gun, and I like the fact that I gave my big bunny eyes on both sides because I want to be able to see him from both ends. He's so adorable. So I kind of like sit him on the top layer and I make him peek out so you can kind of get a glimpse of both sides of his face. Isn't he adorable? I just think he's just so adorable. I did put a lot of glue at the bottom of them, so I do hold them in place for an extra minute, and I do let it dry before I put in the other pieces. And just go around all the edges, press in a little bit just to make sure that you're keeping that egg shape. For the center of my wreath, I wanted to give it a little bit of a chocolate sign, being that I'm going with the Easter chocolate feel. So this really pretty galvanized egg that they have at the Dollar Tree is nice and sturdy. Just before you decoupage, give it a little bit of white coating. I got this graphic on the Graphics Fairy website. This is one of the free ones that you can get on the website. So I just printed it out on a sheet of rice paper. I always keep rice paper handy for when I want to... This is the, okay, take 110 because I didn't film it before. Okay, time to finish the wreath. To put my eggs in under my bunny and make like a little perch with the eggs, I have little pins. It's a good thing they're styrofoam. It's really nice because you kind of could stick them in the bottom of the bunny. And then I use hot glue to reinforce the way they kind of sit with one another. I think the pin just makes it a little bit easier to put it in there, and you can kind of twist them around and see which side of the egg looks a little nicer, a little neater, and you could just go from there. A little hot glue to keep the eggs attached together and not shift around too much. Make it nice and tight. You can kind of eyeball it and see where you want to put everything. I liked an egg up on the top, and I decided my bunny needed some company down there, so I put 2 of the little bunnies down there, and then I made some of the 4 of the other bunnies climb over the top of the egg wreath. It just kind of brings like your eye up to the top and balances out the bottom a little bit. I like to create a little bit of movement too, as bunnies like to hop around everywhere. Here's the wreath hanging on my door. I added a bow that I got from the hair section at Dollar Tree just to kind of finish it all off, but I really love the way it turned out. I love the way the soft pink coffee filters look with the chocolate bunnies. I like that little tiny touch of gold that I put on my chocolate eggs. It gives it a little bit of a regal look, in my imagination anyway. I hope you liked this video, and I hope it gave you a few ideas for your own. If you did, I'd love to hear your feedback in the comments. Consider giving me a thumbs up. It does something to the algorithm. I'm a brand new channel here, and it just gets me noticed by YouTube. And if you really did like what you saw here today, consider subscribing to my channel for some more. I'd love to see you back here again. Thank you all so much for watching. Happy creating. Create that magic for yourself. Bye for now.
Watching the Daily Decorista. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe and click the bell for notifications on new videos.